There's something distracting you. And remember, it's always good to throw the punch where you could hit him, he can't hit you. That's what the science of boxing is all about.
It's been a year since he passed away, but his words are still heard. 𝐸∫ was, in a sense, the modern-day father of boxing. He often said, "What I do is discover and uncover." In the 40s, it was Floyd Patterson. And in the 50s, it was Jose Torres who he transformed into a champion. But perhaps his greatest prize was the 13-year-old boy brought to him 7 years ago from a nearby correctional institution. The uncovering process would now begin.
With me, the guy comes to me with a spark. I fan the spark until it becomes a flame. I feed the flame until it becomes a fire. Then I feed the fire until it becomes a roaring blaze. That's what I have to do.
But that spark turned into something much more than a boxing relationship.
When I was 14, Cus used to tell me about all this. We would talk about the old fighters or something, and then we'd go to another hour, we'd talk about girls. It was just like my big brother was my father, talking about my father.
Within 2 years of their meeting, the old professor legally adopted his rising star. Their destiny had begun.
Cus always strived. He said, "You could be the champ," even at a young age. And I believed in him. I developed that kind of confidence in him. And we just made it, that was the destiny, no matter whatever happened. And he discussed times that he wasn't feeling well and he doesn't think he's going to be around. But he said, no matter what, the job must go on.
Last November, 𝐸∫ died of pneumonia. In the Catskills, where he worked with so many fighters, a part of the gym is dedicated to him, but not as a means of remembrance, rather for the teachings and beliefs of 𝐸∫ that remain very much alive today. And Mike Tyson is not alone.
The guy threw a wide left hook, you get hit with a straight right hand inside the left hook, the hook will go around.
But you aim it here and bring the same hand. When he hits here, he's liable to bring it down. Even if he's got his liable to bring down, bang, over here. Bang, with the left hook here or here.
You get hit, bang, you get excited and your head comes up your hands. When you get hit, that's when you got to be calm.
And so it was for 6 years, day in and day out. The master instilled in the student his experience, his thoughts, and his expertise. He used words to inspire, words to teach, words to live by, words that are believed in to this day.
Fear is like fire. If you let it get out of control, it will destroy you and everything around you. You manage to control it, it can make it work for you.
No, what I like about it's about the coward and the hero, that both of them feel the same.
It's what they do that makes it different. In other words, the hero feels just as frightened as the coward.
But it's just that the coward, he runs. Instead of the hero, he feels the same, and he has the discipline, and he just makes himself go through whatever has to be done.
It's what he does that makes him a hero, and what the other fellow doesn't do that makes him a coward.
It was D'Amato's philosophy to build will rather than skill. With Mike Tyson, he has succeeded. The fear and the fire still burn, but so do other feelings.
Well, you know, it really is difficult because I did miss him a lot. But even besides, before, when Cus was around, I was always that way. I used to always keep things to myself. I always kept things to myself. But it's just that I let some things out. I spoke to him about some things that were on my mind. But when things get on my mind now, I don't talk to anyone about it.
It seems as if this was how it was meant to be. 𝐸∫ knew that the day Mike Tyson entered the ring to fight for the title, he would be by himself.
I succeed when I make that fellow become champion of the world and independent of me. Because when he's independent of me, I have succeeded. He has succeeded when he becomes champion. I have succeeded when I made him independent of me. He doesn't need me anymore.
The prophet had a way with words, but you have to wonder what he would be saying to Mike on this night, the culmination of a dream.
If Cus was around and I was fighting for the title, he would tell me things, and he would describe the way Berbick would fight, because I'm sure if he was around, he would have watched Berbick coming out of his ears, and he would describe the way Berbick fight and explain this is what I would do. And so I would tell him, yes, but just don't worry about it, because everything's going to be all right. And he knew not to worry about it. No matter what happened, the job has to be done.
And so you have to have the feeling that Mike Tyson has a little bit of Cus-D'Amato with him. There you see just 21 months as a professional to his first title fight. Joe Louis, the closest to him, more than a year behind him. So Mike Tyson, youth, no question about it. Now, will it be served is the question that we'll be answering tonight. And of course, I really haven't heard or felt as much anticipation, Ray and Larry, about a heavyweight championship fight as I felt in the last hour or so in a long time. And I don't know if it's just that we're kind of all sitting back saying, how good is Mike Tyson really? This fight has brought everybody out of the woodwork, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I think one of the ways we recognize it is when celebrities come out because they recognize that something big is about to happen. And if you want to know what the cost of being a celebrity is, tonight it's $400 because ringside is $600. But all of these showbiz folks have paid $1,000 to be in the VIP section.
And that was sold out. You couldn't even get into the VIP section, really. In fact, Eddie Murphy was around here. He was kind of a latecomer. You saw him just a moment ago. There's Tommy Hearns, guy that you're infinitely familiar with, Ray. Michael Spinks, heavyweight champion. And Larry Holmes, of course, the former heavyweight champion. I mean, this has brought out the greats and the near greats, and I'll tell you, it's only the greats that are ringside. Speaking of the greats.
Muhammad Ali and his new wife, Lonnie, his fourth wife. And somewhere back there is Archie Moore as well.
20 years and 4 months. That's the age of Mike Tyson. He is trying to surpass Floyd Patterson, who at 21 years, 11 months, became the heavyweight champion of the world. Mike Tyson told us yesterday, yes, that's important to him. He'd like that, but he would also like to be the youngest undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Exactly. There's a bit of an asterisk with this because Patterson was undisputed champion. Tyson is fighting for 1/3 of the title.
So Mike Tyson keeping folks waiting here, and perhaps most importantly, he is keeping Trevor Berbick waiting. And this you have to feel, Ray, it's going to be perhaps as much of a mental fight as it is a physical fight.
Well, if it's going to affect anyone, normally it affects the challenger because he hasn't been through that type of experience before.
Yeah.
Both of these fighters extremely imperturbable. We sat and talked to both of them. They both seemed very calm before the fight. I didn't really notice any kind of edginess about either of them.
Well, they both seem to be very relaxed and very confident. I tell you one thing about it. This may prove to be somewhat of a strategic fight on both fighters' part.
Another factor here, I don't know if it's a big factor or not, Angelo Dundee in the corner of Trevor Berbick, and now Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson has come to this fight with his usual retinue, which includes a trainer and an assistant, and that's it. 2 people, plus his managers, Bill Caton and Jimmy Jacobs. That's his entire entourage, and here he is.
Also wearing a sweatshirt. It's the first time that we have seen him do that. He usually comes into the ring bare-chested, just trunks, black shoes, no socks, black trunks.
Sockless, but not punchless, I should add, Barry.
Yeah, no question about it. In fact, yesterday we were talking to him about, I asked him, I said, when do you put your game face on? He put his arm over my shoulder and he said, you know, this is no game. There's the record of Mike Tyson, 27 victories, no losses, 25 knockouts, and the only 2 that weren't were against competitors who ran on him. Quick Tillis was one of them, and Mitch Blood Green was the other.
I think Mike is visibly just trying to conceal his feelings, retain his calm. This is the first time he's been in an event anywhere near this magnitude, and some people get caught on it. But here is our path to the championship. This is the 5th fight of the series to determine one heavyweight champion. The winner of this fight will fight the winner of a rematch between Tim Witherspoon and Tony Tubbs, who will fight again next month. And then those 2 winners will meet, and finally against Michael Spinks for the undisputed title.
One other thing to point out, too, you saw that Mike Tyson hasn't fought in 76 days, and yes, that's a long time for him, but since November 22nd, a year ago, 1985, he has fought 14 times, so it isn't that he has not been active. Now, what's going to be the key to the fight? A lot of people feel the uppercut. Ray, what about that?
Well, Barry, because style makes fights, and all fighters favor a certain punch, and in Mike Tyson, that particular punch is a debilitating uppercut. Here against Roberto, you see the uppercut. It's short, and that's the beauty of it. It's so effective because you can't see it coming. And here we take a shot at him and Marvis Frazier. Once again, the short, well-executed right uppercut. And that's the shot I think is going to work against Trevor Berbick. But he has to get close and inside.
Now, what does Berbick have to do to defend against it? That, of course, is probably as important as what does Tyson have to do to be able to throw it.
Well, Berbick has a better jab than people give him credit for. And what he needs to do to nullify the uppercut is to work that jab and keep it consistent as he did here against Pinklon Thomas.
What about the criticism of Trevor Berbick that he's a guy who punches from the outside in? And Mike Tyson is a guy who comes straight at you. Berbick, as he makes his way out of his locker room and toward the ring now, said, that's where I want him. I love it if he's going to be right on my chest. But his style doesn't seem to dictate that he would love it.
Well, inside, Berbick has a tendency to throw wide loop and telegraph punches. He can't do that against a guy as tenacious as Mike Tyson. He has to throw short punches and tie Mike up and break his rhythm.
Now, you saw that Trevor Berbick has not had a fight in 244 days as opposed to Mike Tyson's 76 days, but that pretty much has been the history for Trevor Berbick, perhaps not quite that long. He's been fighting for 10 years, and he's only had the 37 fights, and Mike Tyson, of course, with 27 fights in a shorter space of time, considerably shorter space of time, 1 year and 8 months. But Berbick has fought tougher opponents. We talked about the fact that the crowd doesn't either really like Trevor Berbick nor dislike him, and you can hear kind of a sense of apathy as he comes toward the ring.
And there is Angelo Dundee, who will be in Trevor Berbick's corner for this fight. Berbick changes trainers about as often as most fighters change sparring partners. And of course, Dundee has been in the corner of many, many champions. There's Berbick's record, 31-4-1. The meaningful fights, he has all won or fought well. Fought people like Larry Holmes. He stopped Greg Page when nobody else had. And of course, the big upset over Pinklon Thomas. He was a 6 or 7-1 underdog against Thomas. He opened as a 6-1 underdog tonight, and those odds have come down to about 3 or 3.5 to 1 man-to-man, because the odds were just too big, people felt, given the experience of both fighters.
We talk about the psychological aspect of this fight. Berbick, dressed in all black, looks a little bit like the Wicked Witch of the West.
You know, and that's a psychological ploy. You know, Tyson has worn black in every one of his fights, so Berbick wanted to wear black as well. And I think it says something about his style as a fighter as well, which we'll get to in a moment. Berbick's official age, ring age, is 33. He says he's 32. We give him the benefit of the doubt. Mike Tyson says he's 5'11.5". We measured him against Ray Leonard the other day, and he looked more about an inch bigger than Ray at 5'10.5". Everything else speaks for itself. And here's our punch data, our computer toy that gives you a quantitative, not a qualitative view of the fighters. Trevor Berbick throws in the area of 50 punches around, lands a pretty good percentage. Mike Tyson throws fewer punches, lands fewer punches, but most of his punches are harder punches. Berbick's jabs in those two fights, he'll have to jab more tonight to keep Tyson off him. Tyson's uppercuts in 10-round fights, that's about 2 or 3 a round. He'll have to be on top of his opponent to be effective with the uppercut, of course.
And the WBC rules, the 10-point must system. There will not be a standing 8 count. A fighter can be saved by the bell only in the final round. The 3 knockdown rule, as in most championship fights, not in effect. And the ring doctor in the WBC, as opposed to the WBA, cannot stop the fight. So those are the rules. Now let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hall, for the pre-fight festivities. Chuck?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you all to please remain standing as we present the national anthem. And to present that national anthem this evening, the very talented and internationally famous vocalist, Mr. Lou Rawls.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in the air, they gave proof through the night
Mr. Lou Rawls, and our color guard from the United States Navy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hilton Center, where tonight the dynamic duo, Don King and Butch Lewis, in association with the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel, presents Judgment Day, an evening of World Championship boxing. These bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Dwayne Ford, chairman, with commissioners at ringside, Freddie Little, Sammy Macias, Herb Santos, and Sig Rogich. The executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Harold Buck. The officials assigned by that body for the next bout of the night, the judges are Harry Gibbs, Dave Moretti, and Ruby Ortega. The timekeeper is Mike Morabito. Counting at the knockdowns, Charlie Roth. The attending physicians at ringside, Doctors Donald Romeo and Flip Omanskio, and neurosurgeon Kazim Fathi. Your referee for the next bout of the evening is Mills Lane. This next bout of the evening, presented by the dynamic duo and brought to you on behalf of Miller Lite. This is the main event of the night. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Championship of the World. Introducing, in the blue corner, fighting out of Catskill, New York, weighing 221 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his professional career with 27 wins, no defeats, 25 KOs. He is the challenger, Mike Tyson. And in the red corner, formerly of Jamaica, now fighting out of Miami, Florida, weighing 218 1/2 pounds. His professional record consists of 31 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw, and 23 KOs. He is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Trevor Berbick.
Both of you. Now listen, if you get in close and I tell you to break and stop punching and step back clean. Any questions from the challenger, Chief Second? Any questions from the champion or Chief Second? All right, let's get it on. Come on.
The key in this fight for Tyson is to be patiently aggressive, not to fling himself into clinches as he has done. The key for Berbick, in my judgment, is to hold him off and smother Tyson and hope for a long fight that wears him out.
Berbick says it's imperative he keeps his man in the middle of the ring. He says Tyson will not push me back like he's pushed other fighters back, and I'll push him back. And I think therein is another key to this fight, Ray. If Berbick can push Tyson back, easier said than done, but if he can, then he can be in the hunt.
Well, I feel it's imperative for both fighters to keep those hands high.
Both wearing black, Berbick with the high black stockings. Left hook, Tyson.
What Berbick's trying to do, he's trying to overpower Mike Tyson. And he's abandoning doing what he normally does best, and that is to use his whole body, to use those broad shoulders.
That was a big right hand by Tyson. This crowd is right into this fight, right at the bell.
I would not be surprised when these guys go down because they're throwing big shots, and both fighters are a little cold, a little stiff here. Real tight.
Right hand, Tyson, and a left behind it. Berbick, as he told us he would, trying to go to the uppercut, so far ineffectively. Big right hand, Tyson.
Tyson has to be patient, as Larry stated, because he's fighting a guy that's been in the ring with top caliber fighters. So he knows how to get a breather, get that second wind going.
Another big left hook by Tyson. I mentioned this earlier, but Tyson's punches even sound different than most heavyweights.
That was the attempt at the uppercut by Mike Tyson. It wasn't a clean shot. Trevor appears to be trying to keep Tyson backing up, making him fight his fight.
Another good left hand by Tyson, and a right behind it, and Berbick is rocked. Berbick in trouble here. Berbick just trying to get through the round. He's hurt, no question. That was a big, big round for Mike Tyson, not only because he showed he had faster hands and beat Berbick to the punch, but because he did show the patient aggressiveness that we talked about earlier.
He have it. Lee had the spot. No, you fight like a...
Always coming forward, Tyson. And the punches are short because he's coming forward and harder to see. We have to remember that Trevor Berbick has never been hit by punches as hard as he's being hit in this fight. And you'd never know how a man is going to respond to that.
Stay very calm. Look to place the body shot first, then the head. Look, great round.
Tyson is everything that people could have hoped for in that round.
Trevor Berbick, we should point out, has been down twice. There's another big shot by Tyson. Berbick in a heap of trouble. Down he goes.
The punches are coming in such a succession that Berbick can't deal with them. They're short, powerful, devastating punches.
Berbick is still hurt. Trevor Berbick still seems to be not on solid legs at all here, Ray.
Well, again, you notice that my man is being patient. Tyson's being very, very patient, which was a big concern from a lot of other boxing people. He's being patient against a guy that has a great deal of experience. He's not wasting any punches.
Trying to tie Mike Tyson up here, just kind of hang on and get the cobwebs out. Oh, another big right hand, and Berbick is in trouble again.
Tyson is perpetual motion, and the reason he's so dangerous, bro, because he continues to throw those punches. One thing I've noticed in Tyson, he actually turns southpaw because he can knock you out with either hand. He has good leverage because he keeps his balance.
He missed with that uppercut, but didn't miss by much. That was a right to the body and an uppercut to the head, and Berbick is down. This one is going to be over, I believe. It's over. That's all, and we have a new era in boxing.
Mike Tyson fought as perfect a fight as a man of his type of ability could possibly fight. He fought a very strong man, an experienced man. He was unfazed by the magnitude of the event. There is no praise high enough for Mike Tyson for fulfilling all of boxing's hopes for what he's done here.
Amen. Well, that is just as complete a victory as I can remember seeing in the years I've done this sport.
Well, it makes you speechless because of the way that Tyson demonstrated his talent. Here, the right hand that put Trevor Berbick in a great deal of trouble, and here's the first knockdown. Again, another looping right hand, and Tyson punches very well with both hands. It was a good display of punching power by Mike Tyson.
And again, just to underscore the theme that Larry Merchant said,
well, the final knockdown, we didn't see that beautiful uppercut too often. In fact, Tyson didn't need it. But it was a short left hook that did away with Trevor Berbick.
Just tremendous shots and very quick hand speed. He set up the last knockdown with a shot to the body and came right back behind it. And you could see at this point that Trevor Berbick was not about to get back up.
See, we understand the punching power of Mike Tyson. All you have to do is watch this replay, and Trevor Berbick has a very durable chin. He has never been hit that hard, that often by any fighter.
Here's another look at it. Watch the shot to the body. There it is. Missed with that right hand.
It's such a short left uppercut, left hook, I'm sorry. And it was a one-punch knocker out pretty much. It was not accumulation of punches.
Just devastating punches. But again, as I started to say, to underscore the theme of this fight, as Larry Merchant mentioned, patience. It was a different Mike Tyson than we saw. He just tried to overpower people before, run at him, and just be bigger and stronger and faster. But tonight, I didn't see him waste too many punches at all.
Well, Tyson knew, I think he knew what to expect from Trevor Berbick. He felt that Berbick was somewhat crafty and very slick inside. But Mike Tyson did what Mike Tyson normally does, and that's fight.
Yeah, and he does. That's with a capital F also. Well, I don't, he just answered all the critics. Not that he had that many critics to begin with, but the questions that we talked about, is it too much too soon? He really hasn't fought a named talent. Well, that will no longer be talked about. I'm sure we will talk more about it, however. But right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hall. We'll get the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mills Lane stops the bout at 2 minutes, 35 seconds of the second round. The winner by a TKO and youngest and new WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Tyson.
So Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight champion in history at 20 years, 4 months, 22 days. What a victory for him tonight. The thought that I had as Mills Lane was counting out Trevor Berbick was, what must Michael Spinks be thinking at this point?
Well, he knows fully well there is a monster lurking somewhere out there in the boxing ring. And Tyson being the, youngest heavyweight. For my son, Ray, he's 13 today. Happy birthday, son. I'll be home tomorrow. God bless you.
That's right. I was going to say that, didn't get to it because of the second round. In fact, that may finish second to the fact that Eddie Murphy, who's here, phoned Little Ray. Little Ray isn't so little anymore. I got to point out to you, not the same kid you saw in those commercials. But for Mike Tyson, not exactly little Mike either, 221 pounds. He's a guy who you feel now, he's not just going to say, okay, I'm the champion and just let up. Let's go up to the ring right now. Larry Merchant is with the new heavyweight champion. Larry?
Mike Tyson, 20 years old, a heavyweight champion. How does it feel to be wearing this belt?
Well, it's the moment I waited for all my life since I started the game of boxing. And as everyone said, that Berbick didn't have a chance. Berbick was very tough, very strong, in fact, very strong. I was never expecting him to be as strong like that. I knew he was strong, but I didn't expect him to be as strong as me. And he was very strong. But I was calm, and I was timing my punch. Every punch I threw with bad intention in a vital area.
Everybody thought that the magnitude of this event, your youth, the fact that you have been a little too impatient in past fights, might make this a longer fight. How did you feel coming into this fight? How are you prepared to fight him?
Well, I told everybody I anticipated on a knockout because I was so calm, so relaxed, and I had so much belief in myself. Because my trainer, Kevin Rooney, and I want to get in here. We sacrificed so much and we put in so much, and I just knew we couldn't fail.
What was your plan? What did you feel from him in the first round?
Well, my plan was to stick my jab in his face, as you saw. It was hard in his face, and every punch was to throw with bad intention.
That he did. We're going to take a look at the final knockdown to show. And would you describe it for us, Mike?
Just look at every punch. I'm right
bad
there.
Intention.
Bad intention. Miss.
That miss. He's lucky.
And I'm just waiting. Boom. Right off the temple. Right off the temple.
It's easy to hit. The guy don't for everything. Look at that.
That's all she wrote. I'm the youngest champion ever in the history of the sport. My record will last for immortality. It would never be broken.
And we're going to unify.
Why is it so important for you to be immortal, to have a record that you feel nobody will ever break?
Because I want to live forever.
That's all right. Did he ever hit you with anything?
He threw some punching glass in me, but even if they didn't connect, I refused to get hurt. I refused to get knocked down. I refused to lose. There's no way in the world I was going to go out this ring walking. I had to be carried out. I had to be dead. There's no way I was going to leave this ring alive.
It looked early in the second round that he had already recognized your power and that he was starting to hold on and just survive even as early as that.
Well, I don't know about that. If that was so, that was his problem. I was coming to destroy and win the heavyweight championship of the world, which I done. And I'd like to dedicate my fight to my great guardian, 𝐈𝐻𝐺 D'Amato, and I'm sure he's up there and he's looking and he's talking to all the great fighters and saying his boy did it.
And smiling, that's right.
What are your ambitions from here on out?
To unify the title.
Will you consider yourself really the youngest champion until you unify the title?
Well, I consider myself the youngest. Look at the magnitude. Look what I draw here. Look at the fans. Everybody came to see this fight. This fight was unbelievable. It's an exciting moment of my life. I still can't believe the audience and everything. And I would have to say the championship fight.
𝐻𝐺 D'Amato, when he first saw you at the age of 13, 14, he said to you, "Stay with me and you can be the heavyweight champion of the world." Yes. And you said, "How do you know that? You just saw me."
I said this is a crazy old white dude.
What do you think he saw in you?
I couldn't tell you. He's a genius. You can't. Everything he said happened. Isn't it true? Everything he said happened with me.
That's right.
Was it that he saw in you just strength, or did he see? Do you feel some kind of character trait that would carry you through?
𝐻𝐺 always depended everything on character and determination. He saw I had the character, but not the experience. But he saw that I was good enough to fight more experienced fighters and win.
And he had the smart.
Next month, Tim Witherspoon fights Tony Tubbs. You will fight the winner. Give us your assessment quickly of that fight, and what do you think about your chances against either of them?
I would love to fight the winner. I don't know who the winner's going to be, but I would love to fight the winner. I'm champion of the world. I'll fight any man alive, and I feel I could beat anyone in the world. And I'll take on all comers.
Thank you very much, Mike Tyson. That interview was longer than the fight. And back to ringside.
Okay, thanks very much, Larry Merchant. Nice interview with an awfully nice guy. You know, yesterday when we were talking with Mike Tyson, he said that he was asking 𝐻𝐺 D'Amato, he said, "What am I going to do when you're gone?" Because 𝐻𝐺 always used to say, "You know, I'm an old guy, I'm not going to be here too much." And 𝐻𝐺 said to Mike Tyson, he said, "That's how you'll find out if there's life after death, because when I'm gone, you're going to keep going." And he dedicated that fight to him tonight.